Gemini 3.5 Flash just launched today at the Google I/O event. Google announced several different launches, and 3.5 Flash is probably the highlight of the event. We've been expecting Google to come with a new model for quite some time now. This is the first version of their new 3.5 class. They're going to be launching 3.5 Pro next month. And so, how does 3.5 Flash line up with what the playing field currently looks like? So, we can see that 3.5 Flash is comparable to all the frontier models that are currently out. So that's Claude Opus 4.7 and GPT 5.5. In some ways, it's actually a little bit underwhelming because it's not any better than the other two models that I just mentioned, 4.7 and 5.5. However, when it comes to its agentic area, working with MCPs, tool calling, it outperforms both GPT 5.5 and Claude Opus 4.7. That's what stood out to me in all of these benchmarks here. Apart from that, it seems pretty similar to what's already out there. I would say that Google and Gemini, particularly the latest models, starting with, let's say, 3.1 Pro, have outperformed also when it comes to the multimodal areas as well. So if we look at multimodal, you'll see this right here: information synthesis from complex charts, multimodal understanding and reasoning. Those two specifically, they outperform Claude 4.7 and GPT 5.5 significantly. And even the previous model, 3.1 Pro, outperformed both those models also. And so the multimodal aspect of Gemini, to where when you build out designs, when it comes to the aesthetic of what you're doing, Gemini is the best on the market, and it has been for quite some time now. And so that's where we're currently at. Also to mention the speed. So obviously this is a flash model, so it's expected to be fast. Gemini 3.5 Pro may not be as fast as this, right? Or will not be as fast as this, but 289 tokens a second. This is, what's that? 4 times as fast as GPT 5.5 high and Claude Opus 4.7. So it's significantly faster than everything out there, including 3.1 Pro. Interesting that they didn't mention 3.1 Flash in this. And so that is Gemini for you, and where things currently stand, and how it lines up with the existing models that are out there. So Google has put their foot back into the AI race. At the I/O development conference, they also announced something called Gemini Spark. It's interesting because these companies keep using a lot of the same sort of names. You have, for example, GPT Spark as well, ChatGPT Spark, which is the fast model of the GPT models. You could use 5.4 Spark, I believe. And so Gemini Spark is going to be a 24/7 agent that can always be on. It'll run in a virtual machine. They're going to start rolling it out next month to those who are on the Gemini AI Ultra plan. And so that's now kind of lining up with the more agent-like areas of, let's say, the goal feature with Claude Code and GPT 5.5 now. And just the idea of having these always on agents that can run for long periods of time and do multi sort of pronged workflows. And so we're nearing and approaching this space where we're removing ourselves as the bottleneck, and the agent is able to operate more uninterrupted. And so that is where this is going. Gemini 3.5 Flash, welcome back Google to the race. And so we'll see what these other companies release next. Cursor just launched Composer 2.5, which actually lines up with the top models as well. That's why I have it up here. And so this is really nobody's race yet, right? We know how big the Google ecosystem is. And so many believe that they're probably the sleeper and have the advantage, just given how much they're able to spend, what they're able to afford. And so I would say that from a personal perspective, I feel like Google's ecosystem is very dispersed and kind of all over the place, right? You've got Google AI Studio, you've got Firebase Studio, you've got Anti-Gravity, you've got all these sort of Google products that are out there. Obviously, you've got Gemini, you've got Stitch. There's so much in the Google ecosystem, and I feel like what Google does best currently is the multimodal experience. When it comes to design, for example, and not even just design, but images specifically, Nano Banana 2 is still, I would say, the most reliable image model when it comes to just generating images. And just the multimodal capabilities of Gemini. And I feel like that's what Google needs to lean into more, right? Because otherwise they are just kind of there as another model alongside Opus and GPT or Claude and GPT models, but kind of lag behind. Like no one's gonna stop using Claude Code and Codex to come use Gemini 3.5, at least right now. And so there needs to be a greater pull from the multimodal capabilities, I believe, for it to kind of get more play by those who are serious about agents and building out these agent ecosystems. I would just like to see more from Google and kind of consolidate the ecosystem better. It's just like too much going on. I heard the former CEO of Google speaking on Gemini in an interview the other day, and he kind of slipped up and he said Claude, that a lot of their engineers are using Claude, and then he like quickly said, or Gemini agents, you know what I mean? So that's to say that it's clearly a laggard, and it has so much potential. Google has access to so much compute, that they are so much intelligence, and they're doing so much. I think that they could really be holding a different position in this sort of AI infrastructure ecosystem. So we'll see what comes from them next. They've built out payment rails for agents, the A2P that goes along with some of what has already been created. And so it may be a matter of time just to see it, and maybe they're still kind of finding their sort of niche or sort of thing in this space. But in some ways it's actually reminding me of and respectfully, if you are someone who's into crypto or Web3, like Cardano, in a sense of it's like you're waiting for something more grand or more prolific to happen that's has a level of practicality to it. And so we're gonna see what comes next from Gemini, and if they launch anything that is going to really pull people away in the way that Codex pulled people away from Claude Code the last several weeks, with their goals feature, with how much Codex is being used for knowledge work, with the ease of use of their Codex app. And so that's what I got for you today and right now. Gemini 3.5 Flash. I will see you guys next time.